So, good morning, guys. Today we are going to talk about streaming, what is buffering, and how popular OTT streaming platforms like Netflix, Prime Video, YouTube, Disney Plus, Hotstar, Spotify, etc. Like the tech behind those tech giants. Before that is at the starting of the 21st century. By the time I mean 2002, 2005, 2006. Before the whole tech boom, before the iPhone revolution, before all that time, how do people listen to their favorite music? I mean, you don't have Spotify. I mean, you can't just open your phone and stream Spotify. You didn't have YouTube. I mean, you had YouTube, but it was not available in your smartphone, right? Smartphones were not a thing. I'm talking about the age before iPhone was released. So what people used to do, what I used to do is, I used to visit certain websites and I used to download MP3 versions of my song, okay, and I used to play it on my keypad phone, or I had an iPod back then, so I used to play it on that. That is how music was consumed, which is a painstakingly slow process because first of all your library is very limited. Okay, you like if I want, I can just open my phone, search Spotify, and I can listen to any new song I want. If I turn on the smart shuffle option, it might introduce me to new music or new artists or whatever it is. But back in that time, first of all, you have to search and you have to download what you specifically want to listen, and it was very slow. You don't get 5G or 4G level of internet speeds back then. So it was a painstakingly slow process for you. For example, you have to visit that website, make sure it's not a pirated or or an unsafe website. You have to download that file, you have to open it, you have to play it. Sometimes the file might be corrupted, and even if sometimes it might take too long to download, the downloading process might be bugged, the website might have a server issue, so it might be taking a long time to respond. I mean, you can't say what's the problem, and of course buffering takes place. Okay, this is the main thing. And one more thing, as I said, is network inefficiency, because like multiple people are using the same internet bandwidth, and at that time already the bandwidth is very weak. So if 10 or 1,000 people use it at the same time, it's obviously going to be painstakingly slow. Here I have drawn up a table of how much time it will take for each generation of internet speed to download a typical 1 GB file. As you can see, let's assume we are consuming a pirated 720p or a 1080p movie. Let's watch it in standard high quality, high definition. Okay, so it's going to be a 1080p movie, and it will usually take anywhere between 800 to 2 GB. Let's take the middle ground, that is 1 GB. So if I'm downloading a 1 GB file on 1G, it will take me almost 38.6 days. 1G is very 1G occurred a very long time ago. I think it was by the late 1990s or something. 2G is much better. It'll be done in a day. 3G again much better in an hour. 4G almost in 5 minutes, and 5G will get it done within 8 to a minute. Let's take a minute. Okay. So as internet speeds have improved, the procedure of downloading has also been much better. So you might have noticed I was using the term streaming quite casually. Let's explain what streaming is. Streaming is the continuous transmission of audio or video data from a server to your device. Okay, let's assume our server to be a tank and our smartphone to be a pipe outlet or a bucket. Let's assume a bucket. Streaming is a process by which water from the tank comes through pipes to your bucket. The water is it's a steady flow. It's a continuous flow. It does not come in separate packets, right? For example, a liter will come, a 10 minutes break, another liter will come. It's not like that. It's a continuous flow of data. It's a continuous flow of water. That is what is called streaming. So instead of when you're streaming something, for example, when I'm watching a Netflix video, let's assume it's a 2-hour movie. What Netflix does is Netflix breaks down the whole 2-hour movie into small sections and sends them continuously. It's like a conveyor belt with packages moving along. As I said, it's a 2-hour movie, so Netflix might create 12 10-minute packages. So each package will come one after the other, and by the time I complete watching one package, the next package will already be there. So there is no need for me to download everything at one go, or download everything from the beginning, from the start and then watch. It just takes up internet as much as it's needed. For example, if I got a call by the time the movies or reach the interval, I can stop it and go. Only the next section will be loaded, so it kind of reduces the amount of internet also used. That's why streaming is very important. When you're watching a video on YouTube or Netflix, streaming a song on Spotify, or watching your favorite content creator on Twitch, all these things are happening as a stream. Okay. Now, why buffering was a nightmare? Buffering is a process with which you download your data in prior. Before consuming the content, you download it and then you are watching it. As I said, you are downloading your movie, then you are watching it. When you're watching a stream, the movie is divided into pieces and you watch one piece at a time, and the next piece will already be in your device before you finish watching your current piece. That's what happens. But in buffering, you download the whole thing, the whole 2-hour movie first, then you watch. Okay. So as I mentioned before, it can be affected by slow or unstable internet connections. If the file is a bit too big, if you're downloading a small 500 600 MB file, I don't think even in current time it would be an issue. But if you are consuming something large, something with ridiculously high quality, for example a 4K video with something like a 10 GB or 12 GB size, you waiting for the whole thing to download will take a long time. Even if it's 5G, it will take some considerable amount of time. I mean, as generations of internet has progressed, the patience of human beings have also come down. So you can't wait for an hour or even 10 minutes for you to watch that thing, right? You need it at that instant. So that's how things work. And the problem with buffering is that the single server location, even if it's far from the user, it takes a long time for your data to travel. And these are again points I mentioned above. The average user experience is very bad. Okay. Now this is the evolution of smooth playback. Early streaming, platforms like Real Player in the early 2000s was clunky, and it had heavy buffering. But breakthroughs came when these technologies were introduced. That is CDNs. All three I will talk in detail in the future. In this video itself I'll talk. Let's see how that goes around. Adaptive bitrate streaming and caching. Okay, CDNs means your servers are closer to you. Adaptive bitrate streaming means your your video streaming platform. For example, Netflix understands what is the speed of your internet. For example, if you have a shaky or if you have a low power internet, Netflix tunes down the video's quality. For example, usually if you are in a good signal strength, if you have a good signal strength, you might be watching a 720p video, but with adaptive bitrate streaming, if your internet is fluctuating, Netflix might tone down the quality to 360p or 480p. And if it's very strong, if your plan allows it, Netflix might bump it up to 4K or 1080p or whatever it is according to your plan. So that is adaptive bitrate streaming. And caching means, for example, you're storing a video which you frequently watch. For example, I used to watch a movie called as Interstellar very often. So it might store it in its nearby memory. Okay. CDN means content delivery networks. Instead of one central server, your content is copied to many servers worldwide. So when you click play, the nearest CDN nodes gets data. For example, before the whole CDN shenanigans started, if I want to watch a Netflix video and I click play, I'm sitting in Kerala, so my device has to contact Netflix and retrieve its data from in the US. I'm pretty sure it might be in Silicon Valley, California or something. So the data has to come from California to Kochi, so that I can view my YouTube data, you view my video. But due to CDN, Instead of going to California, the nearest server might be in Bombay or in Bangalore or even Kochi or Madras or whatever it is, somewhere in India. It connects to that place. So there is lesser travel time, and since it's closer, it also reduces latency. Okay, so it also helps in handling traffic spikes. For example, if you have one single server sitting in California, the whole world is trying to connect to that particular server, so the loads are going to be insane. But if you have a CDN, if you have a distributed network of your data centers, what happens is that, for example, India is a huge country, so India might even have 5 or 6 of sub data centers. So it manages the data in a much more efficient way, because the people who are close to that server is only going to talk to it. It doesn't need to handle people from California or Tokyo or London or anything. That's what happens in a CDN system. Then, as I said, adaptive bitrate streaming. Instead of one giant video file, your videos are sliced into small pieces of multiple qualities: 240p, 480, 1080, 720, 4K, 1440p, that's 2K, etc. So your app or your streaming platform checks your internet, understands your signal strength, and alternates between these variations of quality levels, so that you can at any given time, even if your signal strength is low, you can still watch something. It never stops playing. That's the whole idea. It never stops playing. It will show you some content. The content might have a lower quality, but yeah, it will still play. This is caching, okay? Why the same show doesn't travel twice? Frequently watched videos are cached. That is, it's temporarily stored in your bandwidth, okay? CDN means the content is near you. Adaptive bitrate means video adjusts to your conditions. Caching means popular content is pre-positioned. These three plus some compression algorithms all ensure that you have a smooth experience while watching content. Now let's go through some simple case studies. Okay, I just created 2 or 3 case studies. Let's go through one of them. Netflix has its own Open Connect CDN. It places custom Netflix servers inside your ISP networks, so content is really quick to access. It uses heavy advanced bitrate algorithms. So and if I'm not wrong, Netflix has 30 plus quality levels. I mean, the 720p, 1080p, 4K, 3K, 2K, like whatever the number is, they are just standard numbers. Netflix might have quality levels in between those, so that it can handle any device with any aspect ratio, with any internet signal strength level. Okay, and CDN also helps handle peak demands. For example, recently I experienced a problem with Netflix server. Let's take something personal, okay? Not personal. I was watching the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight. Mike Tyson came out of retirement to fight Jake Paul in a bogus match, and that match attracted such a heavy crowd onto Netflix servers that Netflix servers crashed, and many users online reported that they couldn't watch the video without buffering. I myself suffered some buffering. I'm like, what is happening with Netflix? I think Netflix didn't personally think such a huge amount of people would come onto their servers to watch this match. But yeah, their under calculation led to buffering, which many users reported online. Next is YouTube. YouTube, on the other hand, has to deal with separate issues. Each and every platform has its own separate amount of problems and its own set of solutions. YouTube, on the other hand, even though it is a streaming platform, it also has to undergo people uploading YouTube videos at the same time. Thousands of hours of videos are uploaded every single day on YouTube, so it has to deal with that. And since YouTube is owned by Google, it also has Google's global CDN. It has adaptive bitrate streaming via Dash. I mean, I don't know what Dash is. I might make a video in the future about that. It means dynamic adaptive streaming over HTTP. It has smart prefetching. It buffers ahead intelligently. I mean, Google is the pinnacle of AI. Google is one of those companies who knows how to use artificial intelligence and how to create algorithms in the best way. So their systems are usually really good. Next, Twitch. On the other hand, while YouTube and Netflix have to deal with pre-recorded data, Netflix Twitch is a streaming platform where you can, for example, you can see your favorite content creators playing games or talking or interacting with them. I mean, it's basically a gaming platform, it's a streaming platform. So it has to have a low latency so that it's technically live. It has to have adaptive streaming, much more critical, because you, as the stream is progressing, it shouldn't be cut off, right? It shouldn't be buffering. So the challenge is to deliver smooth, near instant video to viewers across the whole globe. The current challenges in streaming are network bottlenecks, that is, rural areas or mobile data are still suffering. When you're traveling, you might feel that. In India, in Kerala, especially, whenever you're traveling by train, you will definitely encounter this, because your phone, when traveling at such high speeds, is juggling between multiple cell towers. So your internet connection kind of gets messed up, and its streaming is a bit difficult in such scenarios. Some providers, for example, I think VI does this, they provide certain limits to video speeds. When you're watching a lot of videos, suddenly it starts buffering. Some users might feel data caps. For example, normally when you're charging your phone, you will have 1.5 or 2 or 3 GB per day, right? You have to like finish your video watching or whatever your internet usage between that data limit. The future of streaming, like when 5G and 6G network, 5G is technically here, but when 6G networks comes, the latency will even go down. You can watch 8K HDR 10-bit videos at very high speeds without buffering. You can use VR or AR, or even like recently, I think yesterday or day before yesterday, Mark Zuckerberg introduced the Meta display. It's spectacles with AI powered glasses. It's something like the ones used by Tony Stark in Avengers Endgame or any movie, like the Edith glasses. It's like a first generation Edith glass. If Edith is a 100th generation, this is a first generation. It's like a heavy marketable prototype. It's really good. So you can watch movies on like AI powered spectacles like that. And it can also be used for edge computing, that is processing very closer to you. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you for listening to my class.